Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm here to talk more about The Walking Dead Season 9 mid-season finale and Jesus, because he did die in that episode. I waited a couple days to make this video because I want everybody to make sure, I didn't want to just talk about the whole death, because in case people haven't seen the episode, but hopefully you have seen the episode, because Tom Payne also had an interview talking about, his journey. So we're going to discuss all that in this video today, and it's a discussion video, so I want to hear from you guys too. Like, do you think this death was good, or do you think if someone else should have died, and your thoughts on Jesus and his whole character, because he was definitely an interesting character and I did like him, but The Walking Dead didn't really utilize him as much as I hoped they would, because this is something that did not happen in the comics. Jesus on the TV show, he just died in this moment that no one really expected, and at first I was like, okay, they're gonna be bold here and just kill off a big character, but I was reading more into it in the behind the scenes, and now it looks like Tom Payne was frustrated with the character, which totally makes sense to me. Just completely flew over my head. I didn't think he would be asking, because most of the time when characters ask to be off the show, it's a big thing, but this information didn't come out until after his death. So this completely makes sense though, because we can all agree that if you read the comics, the comic book Jesus is a lot better than TV show Jesus. Tom Payne actually had an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, and they asked him if it was his choice to leave the show or it was a decision from the writers, and this is what he had to say. They were aware I wouldn't be unhappy if they got rid of me. I expressed unhappiness last season. I was very frustrated with what the character had been doing. He arrived in a very cool way, and then he was floundered at the hilltop. During the war with the Saviors, the only person he had to fight was a man who was on his side. Speaking about Morgan. In the comics, he had a massive fight with Negan. He catches a grenade and throws it back. And I love how he brought this up, because this is something that is 100% true here, because that fight he had with Negan in the comics, it is the best fight I've had with Jesus. It's one of the best Jesus moments in the comics, and it would have happened around episode 16 of season 7 when that second lineup would happen, when the Kingdom and the Tiger came and saved the day. Now I love that moment because I was in the moment, I was watching the episode, and I loved the episode, but still, I think if we had that fight between Negan and Jesus, that would be so cool. And also this shows that he really knew his character, and that makes sense why he would be frustrated, because I don't know why they didn't do this, but they should have made Jesus more similar to his comic book counterpart. But anyways, let's move on and talk about what else he said. He went on to say, he's the most capable member of the entire group, and he wasn't used at all. In the background, I was training every single week. I was ready and raring to go. You can't help but feel a little bit despondent when you're not released to do some cool stuff. It was mutual, and they knew I would be okay with it. It's an amazing show, and I was honored to be a part of it, but at the same time, being the same character without anything fun to do is a bit frustrating. There's so many videos online of Tom Payne training, and he's such a good fighter, and it's a shame that the writers didn't want to put that in there in the show and actually let him show off his skills. But again, that being said, all that stuff behind the scenes stuff is 100% true, but I want to talk about his death for a second. I want to hear from you guys, because even though it's frustrating that we lost Jesus, I do think his death is one of the best the show has ever had. I mean, that death was so well done, and it came out Sunday night, and since then I've watched it at least like 50 times. Like, I love it so much. So I don't know if this makes sense, but even though it sucks to lose Jesus, I still think his death was really cool and really good for the show. I also think that fans might appreciate this death, if that makes sense, because when a character on the show is gonna die, we know they're gonna die because there's so much focus and attention on them, versus Jesus, who had no attention and no focus on him. He just died within a couple seconds. No one really saw that coming unless you followed spoilers, but everybody else, that death was not seen to be happening, because they didn't really focus that much on his character. Like when Carl died, that whole episode was for Carl. We knew he was gonna die. This was just like a regular episode for Jesus. Although he did have some shining moments, still, I didn't expect him to go out like that. And I think in a way that fans are going to be like, the whispers are not to be messed with. If they can come and take out Jesus in 2 seconds, a lot of people are in danger. So I do think in that way the show is going to benefit. In the final few minutes of the episode, when Jesus started killing the walkers, that was so badass of him, and that's more of what we should have had for the past 3 years, but for whatever reason it didn't do it. And The Walking Dead, I think this is a big mistake. It totally could have avoided because Tom Payne already had the training and he had the skills. They just needed to do it, and I don't get why they didn't. You know, they already have people killing walkers all the time, so they're just throwing Jesus in there and doing more. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap up there and give you guys my final thoughts on it. My final few thoughts to wrap up everything is I do think they messed up with Jesus and they had a lot of wasted potential there. But that being said, I think his death was one of the best kills from a villain in The Walking Dead ever, and I did like it. So I'm not gonna be complaining about it. Like, it's not like a Carl type death or anything to me. But it is a shame that we're losing Tom Payne. But I do think he's going to be successful in the future with his film career. But anyways, I am going to wrap it up there because I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Leave your thoughts and opinions about Jesus and what did you think about his death. And hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating. And also for daily Walking Dead videos like this, be sure to subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.